Thank you very much for the introduction. Great being back the 6th year in a row, and good that I'm not alone here. If you're wondering what are the markers outside of the hall or also in the reception area, they are from us. What are we doing with it? You also see them here in the screen. We use them for positioning and navigation. So we got a lot of different use cases at the moment globally who are interested in positioning, navigating, and augmenting spaces. But what I'm very happy is that one of the projects that we were into the last 9 months was for Volkswagen, and Oliver is also here with me to show you a little bit what we developed the last 9 months and how this affected Volkswagen and what we've tested in our pilot. So maybe I can hand over for the introduction to you, Oli.
You can. So my name's Oliver. I'm from Volkswagen, and I would like to tell you something about Volkswagen in the first place. If you don't Volkswagen yet. So this is the Golf, the old one, the first one. We had a really good start into production with some processes. A lot of human workflows was necessary. And today we changed a lot in production. We got a lot of help, we got a lot of manipulators, we got a lot of robots inside, but still, we need to change something. We need to still improve. We need to be better every day of the week. This looks like a cool map, but HLS information, whole layout information is pretty outdated right now. But we still rely on these ones. So Volkswagen Zwickau had the need to improve how layout system and how to work with this layout. And we got in contact with these colleagues over there in the logistic area and tried to get a proof of concept over there, a proof of technology, and see, okay, what can happen if we can, or what can it be improved over there. It's a really big factory over there. It's Volkswagen Zwickau is in Germany, in Saxony. It's 60 million square feet. You see on the left side the HLS information. This is our 2D information. So it's really complex. It was created some time ago. It is changed in real world every day. And people are using this factory all the time. So what is happening over there? We have some logistic routes. These routes are fixed. These are created once and for all, and then are used for the next 5 or 6 years. We have different kind of user groups on it. We have logistic cars, we have bikes over there, we have our working colleagues, and they all need some different kind of route navigation. So what we tried over there was, in the first time, GPS using Google Maps. Within our factory halls, with all the steel around it, the GPS wasn't working. So we tried another one. No, we did not in the first place. We had a need to check our virtual data, HLS information, 3D data with the real world. There's a lag between both worlds, so we need to update them as well. It's not only navigation, it's also updating the virtual twin in the end. We had the need, or the solution for this one is positioning. The asset, containers, boxes in there need to be positioned in a real factory, of course. And then if we position it in the virtual world on the same thing, we can do alternative planning for future projects, for example. So we tried first solution or second solution after GPS, a beacon solution, where you have a Bluetooth signal, where you pin all 5 meters, 10 meters, something like that, some senders over there. So you see this kind of picture. Of course, the senders are really small in the end, but hey, come on, it's a million square feet, and we do need a lot of devices in there. You do need to maintain it. It's a really high manual effort to maintain these ones, so we checked, and it was like, no, please no. Our IT guys were like, no more Wi-Fi signal in there, no more frequency in there. So they were like, okay, this is not a good solution. So we got into contact with Insider Navigation to my left, to my right, to your left, which are using augmented reality. So we got all the problems, all the challenges, get rid of our IT colleagues, and we got into the first pilot, first proof of concept over there, and Clemens will tell you something about how it works.
Thank you, Oliver, for the introduction. I guess what we have seen is, the good thing is, after the IT looked into beacons and realized that they would need several thousand beacons, and you tell them you don't need any kind of battery or power, you're already a good friend with IT. So the project started quite friendly. That was. And the good thing is, as you have seen, I mean, maybe it's a little bit conservative using the markers, but the big advantage is it really gives you always a stable, absolute position. You got no radiation, no hardware needed, no Wi-Fi even, so only if you want to show real-time data, so it even could work offline. And the good thing is it's very easy to implement. So we quickly, within 1 or 2 weeks, can make the whole factory recognizable. So I guess that's really a big advantage in the process. What we have seen now is especially also that the positioning then is very easy. We have a very accurate positioning within a few inches or a few centimeters. That's a big advantage, especially for the logistics system, because what we've seen when they are delivering, for instance, into the production line, they always have to park very accurately that they can put all of the different items into the production line. So this already helps quite a lot, especially in the old systems. And we have seen that when the people are not driving, not braking early enough, and maybe they are just passing by the station where they have to stop, then they have to take a detour. They have a lot of one-way routes. So it's really not that easy to get to the right point, especially as you have seen or see in that picture. It always looks quite familiar. So when you're new in that building, it's really quite a complex situation to find the right position for the navigation, where to stop. But it's really quite interesting. We started from the logistics sides, but we've then seen in that pilot that there's much more that we could do here. And I guess the big advantage is, and that's also what Ori, I guess, said in the opening statement, that we can merge the digital world with the physical world. I guess that's the big advantage, especially in a factory where they collect a lot of data, a lot of information about all of the different systems. So that helps really to improve the processes. Really have to take the figures from Ori, where he said he thinks that there's improvement when you merge physical and digital world by 40 to 80%. So hope that's true. That really would help us a lot in convincing other people to use the technology. But as mentioned, the big advantage here is that we're having, you implement once the building, you once make a recognition, and on top you can build several layers. The big advantage is also that we see here, for instance, that Volkswagen uses different systems. So like still Windows, I guess, is only allowed on the operative side sometimes, right? So we can use the existing Windows computer that they are having on the forklift or Tucker trucks, for instance, integrate our solution, our SDK in the existing logistic processes, and so they can use this in the existing hardware and the existing software environment. Later on, maybe if it's allowed, they also can use iPads for maintenance, if it's allowed afterwards, not at the moment,
we will see.
or phones. But I guess there's a lot of potential in the future where you can once invest, and then you have several stages where you can then save a lot of money. And how it works in general is that on the one hand side, you got our backend, which manages our solution, the navigation grid, the passes where content is placed, and our SDK in the middle combines then the information that comes from our side and the data that's coming from Volkswagen side. That's a very important part because, especially due to data protection and so on, we can't store any kind of sensitive data on our server, of course. And so this goes directly into the building. And the big advantage is that you can also test this afterwards live for tomorrow on our booth. The big advantage is it's a very easy to use backend. So the people from logistics side easily, for instance, when they have a construction site, can go into our backend, choose a route, delete this route, and automatically all the SDKs are updated. So as you have seen before, the printed to DMAP, right now, whenever there is a change, they have to reprint it to DMAP and give this to all of the different Tucker truck driver, forklift driver, and so on. With this solution now, they go into the backend, delete the route where the construction site is, and automatically our system only takes the available route into consideration. And I mean, as mentioned before, there are a lot of processes now when you have a lot of data in your system and you have the physical building, when you merge them, that you can save. Like, for instance, the use cases we are talking about right now is inventory. So you can go through the factory, you actually see there should be 3 doors, no, there are 4 doors. Okay, we have to change, for instance, the stock. There are several different inspection processes in one factory, for instance, fire extinguisher inspection. You always have to find on several million square meter where are the different fire extinguisher, are they still working? With this process, for instance, you have a route, you can find the extinguisher, you can look at it, is it still fine or should it be replaced? And afterwards, for instance, someone gets a route with all the different fire extinguisher that have to be replaced. Or there is an error in electricity, you find exactly in the factory where's the error, and when you look at it, you already directly see where the problem is and what you have to do, for instance. But I guess talking about AI is one thing. We would like to show you a show reel that we made for that presentation today that you can see how it looked like. And there you already see, for instance, in that first picture, that's an existing Windows computer. We just put a camera on top, and then, for instance, the existing hardware and environment could be used for that indoor navigation part. So you see it's rather busy. And the big advantage is all the different positions that you have in the factory are integrated in our system. Automatically they are as a target in the application. Good thing is with the markers, as mentioned, we don't care if there are any structural changes, because especially here, as we have seen that often the structure changes, we always have a very stable X, Y, Z coordinates where we understand where we are. And sometimes it's really simple things, like we also then had talks with the Tucker truck driver, and they said, yeah, we just would need something like that yellow below, that we know exactly when we already have to brake and where to stop. And then down to the centimeter, they know where to stop, that they can put, for instance, all the different items directly on the right spot in the production line. Or, for instance, then understand with the right data on the right spot how to improve the processes. Like here, for instance, having information about the electricity, here information about the inventory out of the system is on the right spot, really the right item in the right amount of data. Or also safety is a very important aspect, especially as you can see here. This is where all the forklifters are driving, and so the people, when they're walking over there, that they really are take care that are not somebody crashes into them. And as mentioned, the good thing is, even if you are not a programmer, they easily can adapt the whole system whenever it's needed 24/7. Or even with this administration application, go into the building, we recognize where you are, and you directly can position, for instance, information, and this will be stored in that factory cloud. And so everybody then who uses our technology, again, sees the same information on the same spot and can share that information. Let's see, next page. Perfect. So the big advantage is, I guess, as we have seen, that we are agnostic to the hardware that we are going to use, can be in future classes. I mean, Ori said he believes that good classes will come out in 3 years, so hope he's not right, and that will be more sooner than later. Can be mobile, can be tablet. In general, even can be drones or automated forklifters, like you can see it here. In general, we help any device to understand where it is, guide from A to B, or show the right information on the right spot. But I guess this also goes along a little bit with the ideas that we're having, hopefully, for, let's see, upcoming tasks together. Let's see, perfect. Exactly. But maybe the last page.
Opportunities.
Handing over to you, opportunities for Volkswagen.
So you can read faster than I can just read it out loud. I want to give you some more information about the approach we did, or the way we approach with Insider Navigation. So we got our colleagues from Volkswagen Saxony, which approached us and documented or called us and said, hey, we have a problem. We are looking for a solution. And then we got more communication, regulation, or regular communication. Created some ideas like a beacon, GPS, throw them away, got into a new idea. And I think Volkswagen as a whole group, as Audi, Jan Flüger just had a talk in the live track over there. Start with the problem at first and then go into many findings of the solution. And we did also at Volkswagen, to be honest, we also sometimes it's like, hey, we have a cool technology, there's a HoloLens coming up, there's Oculus coming up, there's Magic Leap coming up, and then we are finding problems for this kind of solutions. But please, please, please start every time with a problem and then look for the right solution. Also, a solution idea from our side in the technology department was like, okay, we can do this with the glasses. But the colleagues in logistics were like, no, we have Windows devices, we have laptops, we have computers over there. Please reuse them, integrate the technology over there, and then we have a really good solution which we can work on. We don't want another device, and the next device. Please use existing devices as well. This is also a good information.
Perfect. Wonderful. And I guess what we then see is out of that learnings, how we can take it from there together and hopefully soon can show some more on the next AWE. For everybody who is interested how it works, I guess tomorrow the exhibition starts, so if you want to test it live, just come to our booth and everybody can try how it works on the Volkswagen side. Thank you very much.
You have some questions.
The first one is for you.
Ah, perfect. What will it take to go markerless? We are developing at the same time, of course, a point cloud solution, so that you go through a building, you take pictures out of this with a SLAM, you make a point cloud, and you put that point cloud over the 2D floor plan. We already have that process. We just have to improve the algorithms a little bit. But to be fair, as we have seen that we are developing on both approaches, sometimes markers are really good, especially for factories, exhibitions, and so on, when you have an ever-changing layout or structure, so that you have a stable tracking. Is the solution fully integrated in the production process? That's for you.
Not yet. The Volkswagen and the Saxony guys are testing it right now, so the pilot is integrated in the IT infrastructure over there on the local factory side. It's on a whole system, on a whole factory hall, so it's not like 10 meters or something like that. It's really a big area over there. We are testing it right now. We are evaluating the feature of it, and then we go into discussion of the business case, of the efforts to integrate it in the whole group infrastructure so we can scale it to the whole Volkswagen group with its 120 factory size, more than 500 million colleagues, and so the scaling factor is to be expected, but there are some questions to be answered right now. Or in the future.
That's going on in June, with the colleagues from there. How well is the solution now fully integrated? That's already answered. How well do the stickers hold? We even got stickers, if you like, you can drive with a tank over it, so they hold quite good, but we don't care if the stickers are on the floor or on the ceiling. So if there is an area with extreme traffic, for instance, we could also put them on the ceiling, but in general, it's not a problem. We even got metal markers, so you really can use a tank and don't destroy it. Is the system using depth sensors? The one that you've seen from Windows, we use the SatCam with depth sensors, but if you use a iPhone or iPad or Windows or Android, then there's no depth sensor. What's the next step? Instead of markers, would we show? Exactly, the point cloud, for instance, or a combination of SLAM and point cloud. There are different variations. That's the interesting part. That's what Oliver said before, if they're all using already a headset. In general, right now, not. At the moment, they're using a tablet or, as you've seen, the Windows computer that they're already using. In future, of course, the idea is to use a headset, but right now, it's not so easy to meet German regulations concerning the weight that you're allowed to have on your head in combination with a CPU and a battery, which is good enough and stable enough. But in future, that's planned for sure.
How often? Very often. Every day. Like once an hour or something like that.
It's really huge.
I'm looking for a meeting room I've never been to, so once a day, every time I get lost. So people get often lost.
Similar to GPS, people can become too reliant. Yeah, of course that's possible, but I guess this thing here is really more about the safety, that you have a lot of one-way routes. That's quite interesting. I haven't known that before we were in the factory. So you really have to take care where you are going, that you're not going in the wrong direction or against a one-way, for instance. And especially when there are new people, and I mean, factory, I guess, is growing. All the e-cars are being produced there, so they are having a lot of new people. So it really helps them, on the one hand side, get to the right point. But it's not only about getting lost, but it's also about being more efficient. So we know all of the routes which are available exactly in that second. If somebody deletes a route, we know exactly then the other routes which are available. And we dynamically, for instance, can put the positions into the right order and exactly tell him when and where to go. So we then can optimize the routes as well. Because, for instance, the Tucker truck has 3 different carriages behind him. And we know, okay, you have to go to position 14, 25, and 174. And based on all the available routes, we can put them in the right order and then guide him dynamically. And when he misses his target, reroute him automatically. Can the system be operated in low light? I guess that's the big advantage with the markers, that they're easily recognized. We have a quite good error rate inside, so normally even in low light, that's working quite well, yeah? And that's also a difference to the SLAM part. What was the total duration time in weeks, the project from start to end solution?
Beginning from the actual start, it was like really slow, but the first step was going through all the purchasing process, approving by management, approving by legal system, approving by IT security, approving by data security. So if you're working with big companies, if you can really, or till the time you can really start, plan with months, not with weeks.
I guess, yeah, the bureaucratic part was 2 times longer than. How much of the process intelligence is inside navigation? We understand where you are. We can make the dynamic routing. We can show the right content in the right spot. And in general, based on WebGL and HTML, we have plugins that you can put in. They are connected then to the system of Volkswagen. And in that plugins, there's then the knowledge how to process and how to make the right order.
Okay, so I think we have 3 minutes.
Oh yeah, we're already over.
So Clemens and myself will be over here the whole conference. You saw the contact details. You can also find us on LinkedIn. Just contact us.
Perfect.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah.